In the yoga practice, there is a word, sutra, that kind of translates to stitches, or more loosely, connection. Sutra is where the English word suture comes from. The Yoga Sutras is a book of short aphorisms that codify the yoga practice. I was pondering the word sutra and the interconnected nature of our lives, and wanted to share this story of one of those threads. My husband Dave and I have a favorite neighborhood restaurant. We've been there so often we get big hugs from the owner and called by name by almost everyone. We've celebrated some major life events there: my 50th birthday, anniversaries, Valentine's Day, celebratory dinners after Richmond Philharmonic Orchestra concerts, and they catered the Philharmonic's 50th anniversary gala. After my father-in-law passed away, we came home and they brought over pizzas, even though they didn't deliver. Needless to say, we're regulars. We had a favorite server as well. Tara would greet us with a sparkling smile and a joyful attitude, even when they were short-staffed and she was slammed with too many tables to serve. When she brought food, I couldn't help but feel like she presented it in a loving way that actually made it taste better. When we had the anniversary concert reception for the orchestra I mentioned earlier, we requested her to serve. And when we went to the restaurant after the reception, because none of us got any food, she came back to wait on us, even though she was off the rest of the evening. On the surface, our relationship with Tara was pretty much transactional. We bought food, she brought it to us, and we paid for it. But her tragic and untimely death at the age of 28 left us looking at that and other relationships as so much more. I once heard a lecture by the late, great yogi Ram Dass. It was in New York, and he was brought in via video from his home in Hawaii. His light shone brightly even over dial-up internet, and it was pure delight to hear him speak. His voice was crackled and gravelly from the effects of a major stroke a few years before. At the end of his talk, he challenged us to go out onto the busy streets of the Upper West Side and to view each person we encountered as a being of light and love. He taught us this very simple mantra: souls, not roles. We see people through a lens of what they are projecting and also what we are projecting and expecting. Our relationships with family and friends are a bit different in that we have a history of loving exchange. But basically, we put people into a category: friend, manager, parent, lover, hero, or antagonist. When we pause and take a look at people as a soul, not a role, all the walls immediately come down. This is where we see the strings of connection. Walking on the streets of New York and riding the subways was completely transformational after that. I think that is the moment when I started to realize that God is everywhere and in everyone. And that was codified further when I found my faith practice here in this loving community at St. Stephen's. Our relationship with Tara and her death was a moment of realization for both me and my husband. Through her sweetness and our openness, we were able to connect with her as another soul, not just in the role of cute waitress being nice for tips. At the celebration of life for Tara, the restaurant was absolutely packed with over 150 people, many sharing stories just like ours. We learned of her early struggles and how she turned her life completely around, how she loved her black lab, and how the restaurant was not just her job, it was her family. They loved and cared for her as a family would. I looked at each person there as a soul connected through Tara. I saw a string of light connecting everyone in that space, and the common denominator was Tara. a waitress in a neighborhood restaurant. I don't exactly remember the last time we saw Tara. It was probably a month or so before her passing, and from our history, I'm certain it was delightful and sweet and included hugs and all-around good food. I think we've all met folks that are bubbly and beautifully spirited. But what makes some people different is they're seemingly conscious of the love and light that they spread. They make connections, simple connections. We saw those strings of connection very clearly at the celebration of Tara's life. And it leads me to ask this question: how can we make every interaction delightful and sweet in some way? We commonly hear this quote from Henri Frédéric Amiel here in this sacred space: life is short. We don't have much time to gladden the hearts of those who walk this way with us. So be swift to love and make haste to be kind.